Automation doesn't fix problems, it amplifies them. A good automation partner will slow you down before the build. Have you written down the exact process properly? Now, let me tell you the specific things that go wrong when you automate a broken process, because this is what I see over and over again. It even costs more to fix than it's going to cost to build properly from the start. If you have ever built automation that collapsed within weeks or few months, or you are even planning to build or even hire someone to build one for you, just don't attempt to skip this video. There are some mistakes that look so simple but very brutal. Now, imagining trying to ignore tightening the knot that holds your wheel. That actually looks very simple, but it could just be the end of that person's life. So today, I'm going to show you number one mistakes even very smart business owners are making and what to do about it, because the fix is not actually complicated, but most people just skip it because it's not fun. The number one automation mistake businesses make is this: automating a broken process. Now, don't assume you understand this. Just wait. It's a simple sentence, but with painful reality. Many people actually think wrong tools or wrong builder or even wrong strategy is the major problem. Yeah, they also have their negative effect, but it is not as brutal as wrong process. Now, the easiest way to know if you have built a wrong process or you are going to build one is to ask yourself these questions. Have you written down the exact process properly? If your answer is no, and your engineer have not even sat down with you to write it down, you will come back to this video after your process is broken. But I just hope it's not going to cost you more than you can manage. Now, here's what I need you to understand about automation. Automation is a multiplier, which means whatever you give it, it multiplies. You give it a clean and well-structured process, it's going to multiply the result for you. And if you give it a messy, a broken, half-documented process, it's going to also multiply that as well. So most business owners run into automation and then thinking, yeah, the tool is going to fix their operations. But it actually will not. It has never does, and it will never do. Automation doesn't fix problems, it amplifies them. And if you have ever built automation that collapsed within weeks or a few months, now you know exactly the problem. Now, let me tell you what happened between one of my clients. I'm not going to mention him, but you just need to know that it's a real client. Now, I was brought in to build a ClickUp automation for this business. It's a task management theme workflow, and it's a full thing actually. But from the day one, the person I was meant to be working with, the spokesperson, was barely responding. So whenever I ask basic questions, he either just give me half information or just doesn't even respond at all. So I was kind of getting a slow response, like incomplete answers and something like just nothing at all. So I did something that a lot of builders would never do. Guess what? I stopped. I just stopped the automation itself. I didn't guess. I didn't just start building something that looks good, because without the full picture of how the business actually works, anything you build is going to fail eventually, either sooner or later. So the CEO reached out to me and he was actually frustrated because it's kind of taking too long. He wanted to know what's going on. So I told him exactly what was happening. The delay is not from my end, it's actually from your people, because I wasn't getting the full process and there are a lot of gaps. So instead of me building something quick for you, I rather not just work with you guys. So I guess he was frustrated actually, and they just went ahead to hire someone else. And then this new person that they hired just jumped into the automation. He didn't ask necessary questions. There was no even audit at all, like based on what I was told. it just went and then built fast, and then the CEO was very happy because it looks like they were moving forward. So after 2 months of the build, it started falling apart. Task was not routing correctly. The team were even losing trust in the system. So people started going back to doing things manually the way it was always. Now there were more confusions, and the error was just there. And guess what? They had to come back. I mean, they had to come back. So this time was very different because they knew what I complained about. They know that if they don't give me exactly what I need, I'm not going to build anything for them. So they had to speak with the spokesperson, and it was actually responding. In fact, there were things that I asked that time. They had to prepare it before they even reached out to me. So when they reached out to me, I had to ensure that I asked necessary questions. All the processes, everything was well documented. So after I was done with the process mapping, it just didn't even take me up to 1 week to finish the entire automation. I mean, 1 week. And that was how the automation became running. And to be sincere with you, it is 4 months now, 4 months without having to rebuild. So the only thing we do is just to maintain the automation for them. And that's it. Now, let me tell you the specific things that go wrong when you automate a broken process, because this is what I see over and over again. Now, the first is this: the automation breaks constantly. Now, because it's actually built on logic that was never stable, every edge case that nobody even thought about becomes a broken point, and it keeps breaking. Now, the second is this: it creates more manual work, like the way it has been. Because what's going to happen is that your team is going to start working around it. They'll start doing things manually the way they were doing it before, because the automation has actually shown them, let me say, Pepe, like we do in Nigeria, actually. So there's going to be more of manual works again, like before. And that means that you've just wasted your investment. Now, the number four is that you get a blame culture. Now, the team is going to blame the tools, the management is going to blame the builder is actually going to blame the team for giving him a bad information. So, nobody is going to look at the process, and because nobody documented it even in the first place. So, it's just what it is. Now, the number five is that it even costs more to fix than it's going to cost to build properly from the start. You're going to end up paying twice or three times because the first build failed. You are going to have to audit the first build, and if what went wrong is something way bigger, the new builder is going to have to build from scratch. So it's going to charge you for the audit. It's also going to charge you for even the build as well. So that's just like paying twice or even three times, as the case may be. Now, this is the number six, and it's more painful. I mean, more painful. What's going to happen is that you're going to lose faith in automation entirely. Now, if you ask a lot of business owners why they don't want to automate, they will tell you the same thing. So, no business owner wants to go through starting over and over again, and then they would have to start doing things manually, even when they see their competitors moving faster than them because they use automation. They wouldn't even want to try it again because of their first experience. And there's a saying that first impression actually lasts very long. So that's number six. Now, the number last is even more dangerous than all of this. What will happen is that you would actually lose clients, and that automatically means revenue is gone. And I sincerely do not think any business owner wants to do this to themselves. And this is why you can't afford not to build properly from the beginning. So why do smart business owners keep making these mistakes over and over again? Now, there are three reasons to that. The first one is what I call shining tool syndrome. Maybe someone shows you what anything can do, or you yourself, you watch YouTube video about Make or Zapier, and then immediately your brain just jumped to, oh, I think I need to set this tool for my business. Now, that tool becomes the starting point instead of the finish line. So you start from the software instead of starting from the problem itself. And the moment that happens, you have already made the mistake before you ever build anything yet. The second reason is this: pressure. Everyone is talking about automation and AI right now. So if you are a business owner and you are not automating, you feel like you are failing behind. So that pressure makes you move before you are actually ready. And the people around you, I mean, your team, your clients, they want to see actions. They want fast results. So they want to see something happening. So what you just do is, oh, I think I need to build fast without even asking first questions first. Now, the third reason is this, and is actually the biggest one. Now, people treat automation as a solution when it's actually an accelerator. Now, automation is not a solution, it is only an accelerator. So, if your process is broken, automation is going to accelerate the breaking. If your process is clean, automation is going to accelerate the result. The tool doesn't even understand the difference. It just runs whatever you give it with speed. Before we talk about the fix, I want to ensure that we are speaking the same language because I've noticed a lot of things. Now, a lot of business owners use the word workflow, but what they actually mean is checklist. And these are actually not the same thing. A workflow is not a list of tasks at all. No, 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 no. A workflow is a system that moves something from one state to another. Every workflow has 4 parts. Now, let me quickly walk you through them now. The first one is a trigger, something that actually starts the automation itself. Maybe a customer submits a form, a payment clears, a task gets marked complete, or something happens that actually kicks everything off. Now, the second is action, and action is actually the steps that follow in sequence. So maybe send this email, update this record, notify this person, create this task, and each action actually does one specific thing. Now, the number 3 is decision point. And decision point is actually places where the parts actually split depending on a condition. So if clients choose plan A, then it should go this way. If the payment failed, then go this way. So decision points are actually what makes a workflow intelligent rather than just mechanical. So number 4 is an outcome. So the workflow is trying to get somewhere. So maybe a lead becomes a customer, a task gets completed, or an order gets fulfilled. So there must be a finish line. If your automation doesn't have all these 4 and it is well clearly stated before you even build, you are actually building on sand. You are building on nothing. Now, let me give you this information for free. Workflow lives in 3 places inside a business. And the first one is inside tools and systems. So if it's inside a tool, that means it is visible. You can audit it, it can change it, and you can improve it. So that's actually a good place to be. Now, the second place is workflow lives inside a document. And document, I mean, it could be inside your SOPs, it could be inside process maps, your Notion pages, Google Docs. That also looks good. It exists somewhere that you can even look at it and then make some corrections and even audit as well. But you see the third part where the top place is where it lives. That's the most expensive and the brutal place it should ever be. And it is actually inside people's head. Now, this is where most business workflow actually lives. And this is the major root of everything that makes your automation even go wrong. When a process only exists in someone's head, so it means that it can change depending on who is doing that thing that day. So which means whenever the person is sick or busy or leaves the company, it disappears. So it cannot be handled by automation tools because it was never written down. And when you even try to automate it, you are only automating at your best guess. So you remember that story? The spokesperson that I was actually talking to that wasn't responding, the automation actually lives in his head. And without us getting that process from his head, there's nothing we can actually build. Absolutely nothing. How do you know if your process is broken before you even touch any tool? Now, I'm going to give you 5 signs, and you would actually have to be sincere with yourself as I walk you through this. The number one sign is this: different people do the same task differently every time. So, if you ask 3 of your team members to handle the same customer inquiry, and they actually got 3 different responses, 3 different timelines, 3 different results, that is not a process. That's actually a preference, not a process. The number two sign is that you have to chase people just to know what is happening. So if your management style involves constantly asking, where is this? Has this been done? What is the status? That means the workflow is undocumented. Now, information lives in WhatsApp messages or even verbal updates instead of a clear system. The number three sign is this: things only work when one specific person is around. If your business slows down every time a certain team member is unavailable, you have a person dependent process, not a system. Automation cannot depend on a person, it depends on stated rules. The number fourth sign is this: you have tried to automate before and it fell apart. And this is actually the biggest sign of all. So if you built automation that stopped working within weeks or months, it was not the tool, it was just the foundation. The major cause is actually your process. The number five sign is this: you cannot explain your own process in 5 minutes without even stopping to think. So right now, try to explain what happens step by step from the moment a new lead comes into your business. So what's the sequence? Who does what and what actually triggers what? Try to do that now. If you are pausing or you are second guessing yourself or you're saying, well, it depends, that is a broken process trying to become an automation. It's going to fail. Now, you see, this mistake we're talking about actually happens to 2 different kinds of business owners. And I want to speak to both of you right now. The first type is the DIYer. You are actually the one building the automation yourself. You found a tool like Anything, Make, Zapier, and then you watch some videos and then you started setting things up by yourself. Then you just jump straight into the tool. That guy, I can do it. You've already explained it to me. Let me just build. So you started connecting apps before you even map the process. So you started building flows based on what the software actually could do and what the tutorial showed you instead of what your business actually needs. So what you automated is the chaos you are already living in. And now the chaos now runs as automation. The second type is the person who hired someone to build, maybe an agency, a freelancer, a tech partner. So you gave them a brief, you told them what you wanted, and then expected them to figure out the rest. But here's the thing: if you bring a broken or undocumented process to an agency, even a very good agency, what they build is going to fail. You bring it to me, it will fail because we can only automate what we understand. If you don't fully understand your own process, you cannot fully explain it to someone else. Yes, we can help you actually to ensure that we walk into your process and then see where things can fail. And then we just map all the processes. But if you cannot explain it and you don't allow anybody in your process, if you just give it to someone like that, your automation is going to break. And that's exactly what happened to the story I shared. The builder who came in after me didn't fail because he was a bad builder. He failed because he accepted the job without even asking the hard questions about the process first. A good automation partner will slow you down before the build. You will ask some uncomfortable questions about your process. If someone is willing to just start building without doing that for you, that should worry you, not even impress you at all. And that mistake is the same for both type. Process come first, not the tool, not even the builder at all. Now, this is the part that I know that most of you have been waiting for anyway. You've been asking, so what's the fix? What's the fix? Now, how do you get your process to a point where automation can do what it's actually supposed to do? Now, this is what I call a process audit. And you don't even need anything fancy. You just need like a paper and pen. That's a good start. Now, the step one is map it out first. Just get a piece of paper or a whiteboard, a Notion page, whatever you have, and write down what actually happens in the process you want to automate. Not what should happen, not the ideal version, what actually happens right now today in your business. So you need to ask who does it, when, what information do they need, what do they hand off, and to who. So just get everything out off the head of whosoever is in charge of it, and then write everything out. The step two is this: run it manually 3 times. You see that process you wrote down in the step one, run it manually 3 times, not once. So the first time you run it, you will document the best case, and then it's going to be very smooth and the happy part. But the second and the third time, the edge cases will start appearing. You start seeing the exceptions, and you see the things that happens when things don't go perfectly well, and that's actually the edge cases. And you see those edge cases actually what breaks the automation. If we don't have all those edge cases, we cannot build to account for them in the first place. So the happy part, the edge cases, and all the exceptions, all of them are needed in the automation build. Now, the step three is this: find where it breaks or where it stalls. Now, go through what you have documented and then mark the weak point. Where does it slow down? Where does information even go missing? Where does everything depend on one specific person making a judgment call that isn't written down anywhere specifically? So you see, these are your failure points. If you build automation here without fixing all those things first, you will automate a failure. Now, the step four is this: simplify before you systemize. Now, this is the step most people even skip, even after they have done the first three. So, before you automate anything, cut what doesn't need to be there, remove the redundant steps, combine what can be combined, eliminate decision points that only exist because the process grew without anyone even designing it. The cleanest automation is built on the simplest process. Every unnecessary step you carry in is one more thing that can actually break it. Now, the step five is this: now it is time for you to automate. Start at the highest friction point. Once the process is already clean and is already mapped, now it's time for you to bring in the tool. And don't try to automate everything at once. So what you do is find the one step that costs the most pain, the step that wastes the most time, the step that depends on one person being available. You can start there, build that one piece well, test it, let it run. So once it is solid, then you can now move to the next friction point. And this is actually how you build automation that actually lasts. So now, in closing, let me ask you this. After everything I've walked you through today, can you sit down right now and clearly document your process? I'm not saying the I did version, I mean the real one right now, the one with edge cases, the exceptions, and the parts that currently live in somebody's head. If the answer is yes, then you're ready to go building. If the answer is yes, you're ready, just go and build straight. But if you pause on that question, sincerely, that's exactly the work that needs to happen first. So If you don't want to do that work by yourself, that's exactly what we do at Next Support Technologies Limited. We don't just build automation. We come into your business, we understand how it actually works. We'll find the gaps, we fix the foundation, and then we build automation that runs, that lasts long, not just for 2 months. Now, the link is in the description. You can just click on it and then let us have conversation. So if this video actually gave you one thing, even one moment where something clicked, please, I want you to drop it in the comment section. I'm going to read everything and I'm going to respond. And if you are yet to subscribe, kindly click on that subscription button right now. I'm going to see you in the next video. Bye.